Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at the brand new Whitesnake compilation, the Blues album. This just came out and it completes his trilogy of the Red, White, and Blues compilations, the remix albums that he's been doing, and we'll dive into all that in just a moment. But before we go any further, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with the review of the brand new The Blues album by Whitesnake. And as I mentioned, so this is a compilation, and the key factor about this is the fact that it has been remixed in 2020. All the tracks that are on here really livening this album up and bringing it into the 21st century. And I have to give a shout out immediately to Chris Collier, the person who's doing the mixes on these, as I think he has done an amazing job on these. I mean, from the moment I put this album in, it just blew me away. Now, as I mentioned, this is a trilogy, and as the Red, White, and Blues. And so the first one they had put out was the White album, the rock album, which I would have thought would have been my favorite of all of these, you know, the rock, the heavier songs and so forth. I did not expect to necessarily be a big fan of the Red album or the Love Song album, although it is pretty good. But the one that I thought that I would like least is this one here, the Blues album. And in fact, it has turned out to be my favorite of all of these. This one here, from the moment I put it on, it just blew me away. The mixes that are on these things just jump out at you and kind of rattle you awake. I mean, it was one of those things that I thought I'd just kind of put this on and click through and get familiar with. But it was so good, it literally had me shaking and moving with it, kind of a thing. And so let's back up just a little bit. And for those of you that aren't familiar with these here, the thing is about these that they are remixing them. You know, Chris Collier, David Coverdale. Not only are they remixing them, but they are embellishing certain tracks on here. So he's bringing in Derek Sherinian on keyboards to beef them up. Joel Hoekstra as current guitar players coming in and adding additional rhythm guitar parts or things to them there. They're going back into the tapes and finding different whether lead guitar parts or vocal parts or whatever, and using those. Not on all the tracks, just on some of the tracks here. So there's embellishments to them. There are added new parts to them. They are remixed and they are remastered. So these things are really, really livened up. So if you're a fan like me and you already own all the albums, you already own a greatest hits, these three albums here are still very much worth getting. And if you're a new fan, they're also great to get, simply in the fact that what I like that they've done is with the remixes, it makes all the tracks that appear on it sound like they were recorded together. As you know, David Coverdale, Whitesnake, they've had many, many different musicians. It's provided many different sounds. He has grown and changed through the years, starting off as the 70s blues band, into the 80s bombastic sound, moving into the 90s, the more slower, bluesier ballad band, and back into the bombastic Whitesnake that we know and love, continuing on into the 2000s and beyond, kind of a thing. So what this does here is it really brings all of these, it mixes them to the same level, it pulls all of the things up within the mix. And so what I first noticed about these here is that the vocals have really been brought to the forefront of these, and the instrumentation in these have been given room to breathe. And so some of the mixes from the 80s and even in the early 90s, I felt had a more muddy mix to them, not what they could do today. And this has really, really livened these up. And this one here, case in point, just blew me away. It opens with Steal Your Heart Away, which is just a fantastic rocking song. And what I'll say about this too is I was expecting a more true traditional blues sounding track selected for this. And there's not that there's that many of those by Whitesnake, but these are much more groove type songs that Whitesnake has. There are a couple of the more traditional blues sounding songs, but this is a rockin' album start to finish on here. And so it opens up with Steal Your Heart Away, but these new mixes on it are like hearing these songs for the first time. It moves into Good to Be Bad, which is a great track. Track number 3, Give Me All Your Love. That one, you know, coming off of the 1987 album, just absolutely fantastic. You know, couldn't be better to hear that song on here. The way that it's done, livened up on here, just absolutely amazing. Now, where he starts to get in and embellish tracks is from the Restless Heart album, the album from the 90s. So songs like Take Me Back Again, Too Many Tears, those songs on here, those are the ones that have been embellished, and they've been embellished, in my opinion, in the right way, really bringing those into what makes a Whitesnake album sound the way that it does here. And so the other thing, he's also got a couple songs on here from his solo album, like the River song. He's the song Too Many Tears on here, which is also from the River, or sorry, from his Into the Light album, the solo album. This one here, in fact, is taken from the Restless Heart album. So I thought it was odd that he chose to put Too Many Tears on this one. Certainly it's a ballad, but this one here comes from Into the Light. The one that's on here comes from the Restless Heart album. So they are two different mixes, but he does repeat one song. So across all three of these, fortunately only one track repeats like that, but they are two different mixes from two different albums on here. Now, Into the Light, the song, the River song, I always thought was a fantastic heavy track, and I think it finally is given its due appearing on here. One of the things I also like on here is that they include If You Want Me, which is off of the live album that they first did when they reunited in the early 2000s. They recorded 4 studio tracks for it. None of those had appeared on the previous albums, and so he's finally included one of those here. I was kind of surprised that he didn't include all 4 of those because the live album is now out of print, but one of them is included here. Then you've got the song Looking for Love off of 1987 on here, which actually has a different ending to it. So that was kind of cool to get that and have that. That's one of those ones that's been embellished with some changes to it and stuff like that. Of course, this has Crying in the Rain, also off the 1987 album. Re-recorded version, you know, originally having appeared on Saints and Sinners. And that version on here, again, just smoking hot. So really, really great song selection, deeper album cut versions, not focusing on all of the hits per se. You know, again, for us diehards, we're really the ones that are going to be buying these albums. And I think having chosen the song selection that he did for this does it right. All right, so let's take a look at this. I really particularly like this. You know, the first version of this, it's got the snake on it. The second version does this thing with the roses and whatnot. But here we get to a very classic looking Whitesnake logo on it. And the blue is just beautiful. Song selection on the back side of this. And when we open this thing up, you get this. And of course, it shows you the albums from which the tracks are coming from. Booklet is over here, and the disc itself is in this part of it. If I can get to it, I will slip it out just to show you guys real quickly, briefly. And so it just does that. But let's take a quick look at the booklet. Not much in the way of photos, but what I really have enjoyed about these is the write-up that's in here. David Coverdale goes in track by track, giving you background, and he also talks about the future of what he's putting together for Whitesnake. So you get a bunch of pages of that in here, before you get some great photos from the different lineups of the group, and then you get into lyrics. And then the rest of this is just lyrics, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but there you go. So all in all, really, really great packaging, just because you get that extra info to read and learn about the band and all of that sort of stuff that's on here. You do get a couple great photos that are within that, and you get your lyrics and whatnot. But all in all, it's really about the music, those remixes that Chris Collier does in here, the embellishments that are brought on here by Derek Sherinian, Joel Hoekstra, just fantastic, and a couple of the alternate pieces and whatnot really make it worth checking out for all Whitesnake fans. And I think if you're a new Whitesnake fan on this as well, I do think this is worth checking out, because this here really mixes the tracks into all sounding like one cohesive album. And for me, I think that's really a value added thing here. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye, everyone.